Time now for another edition of Hey Bobby with Vice President of the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio, with us here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR. It is All-Star Game Week for Major League Baseball. And Bobby, I know you've had a hand in two of these games directly, going back to 1997. Three of them directly. So we'll get into that. I know 1997 was really special for you. I'm going to have you reflect on the three now. 97, Larry Doby, I know, threw out the first pitch in 97, which was very special. You and him were very close. And then in 2019, CeCe came back, and he threw out the first pitch in 2019. But reflect a little bit your all-star experiences right there at the ballpark at Progressive Field.
Well, I think when you speak, Ray, to the All-Star Game in the city of Cleveland and the Cleveland baseball franchise, you really need to know that no other baseball team has ever played host to 6 All-Star games. When you think about the city of Cleveland, obviously where New York, Chicago, have multiple teams, they have had more All-Star games, but no city with just one baseball team has played host to 6 All-Star games. So we really take tremendous pride in the fact that our community wants to play host to these events. Believe it or not every city, not every ball club wants to play host to an all-star game. I know it's shocking to hear that, but it's an awful lot of work right in the middle of your baseball season. And we just feel it's so important to the general excitement and putting our town on the map. So I'll talk a little bit, let me just quickly say, 1935, 1954, 1963, 1981, 1997, and 2019. Those are the 6 years that we participated in the All-Star Game.
Okay, so let's do to the 3 that you were involved in. I didn't know you were there for the 81, so my problem there. But talk about 81. You've told me in the past, back in 1981, it was really a small group that put this whole thing together to where you had major committees in 2019. So talk about it from your perspective, the behind-the-scenes story of the Indians and Major League Baseball coming together for the All-Star Games.
Remarkable how the All-Star Game obviously has grown from just batting practice and a big gala on Monday night and the ball game on Tuesday to a whole week-long fan fest, the celebration of the great game of baseball. In 1981, Ray, there was 5 of us on the committee. I'm 26 years old as the PR director of the Cleveland Indians, and it's myself, Joanne Klanowski, who was our vice president of marketing. She was in charge of the All-Star Game for us. Our ticket person, of course, our operations person, and then general manager Phil Seggi. And then we enlist, obviously, a number of key community leaders to be a part of the All-Star Game committee to help put it on. So then you flip the switch to 97, and there's probably 26 or 7 on the committee to put on the 97 All-Star Game, which obviously Sandy Alomar was the hero of that game, becoming the first player to win the All-Star Game MVP in a home ballpark. First Indian to win the All-Star Game MVP as well. And then in 2019, I think there were 46 or 47 on the committee because the event had just grown so crazily. But we really embrace the All-Star Game. We think it's absolutely wonderful. I know the 2019 game was the last one that was played, of course, and we just had such tremendous response from all the national media, international media, because our town is so walkable. You had your fan fest just a mile away from the ballpark, and everybody could just take a cab in from the airport and not have to worry about getting in a car or a bus to go anywhere. You could just hike around town and enjoy all that Cleveland has to offer.
With us is Vice President of the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio. Hey, Bobby, it's All-Star Game weekend. Bobby, when we talk about the All-Star Game, you and I often talk about the history of the game and that type of thing. The All-Star Game has its rich history right in Akron. We saw, Ty Cobb even wearing an Indian uniform, if you go back to the beginning. Talk about the beginnings of this and really how it all started right in Cleveland.
Well, there was an expo, the origins of the All-Star Game, 1933 in Chicago. There's a big expo. Chicago is playing host to a World Expo, and the sports editor of the Chicago Tribune at that time felt that baseball should be a part of the expo. And so he thought, hey, let's solicit Major League Baseball and have the stars from the American League and National League play against one another to really highlight the game at this worldwide event. And therefore, in 1933, it began. 2 years later, 1935, Mel Harder is the star, one of the stars of the American League, winning the largest crowd ever at that point to see an All-Star Game. Over 69,000 show up at Cleveland Stadium to witness the All-Star Game. The AL had won their third straight game in a row. So that's the origins. I have to tell you a real quick story. One of my favorite stories of an All-Star Game is 1983. It's the 50th anniversary of the All-Star Game. And of course, it's played at Comiskey Park. And the day before the All-Star Game, they had all the living members of the Hall of Fame on the American League side and all the living members of the National League and a few other stars mixed in play a game against each other. One of my duties, Major League Baseball would bring in us PR guys from the different teams to help run the show. And one of my really difficult jobs was to stand in the third base dugout, the American League dugout, and tell Joe DiMaggio, when you hear your name, run to third base. Ted Williams, when you hear your name, run to the third baseline like they had never done it before in their lives. So we're standing there, and my mentor, Bob Fischel, who was a PR man for the Indians, then the New York Yankees in the 60s with Maris and Ruth, and then became the PR man for the American League and assistant to the president in the American League. He and I are standing in the dugout, and he looks at me and he says, look at this collection of baseball history right here in front of us. And he goes, now that I've waxed poetic, if I see you ask any one of these gentlemen for an autograph, I will never ask you back to work any All-Star Game, any American League major event, or the World Series on behalf of the American League. We do not get autographs. I said, yes, sir. All of a sudden, Bob Feller pops out from the clubhouse into the dugout, and he starts walking around the dugout with a baseball, and he's getting all the players' autographs. And Fischel is elbowing me, going, hey, look at your buddy, Mr. Feller over there. I wonder what card show he's going to sell that ball at, that kind of thing. And when he's all done getting everybody's name on that ball, he walks up to me and he hands it to me.
Oh, my.
And he's, Bobby, I thought you might enjoy this baseball. And I, corner my eye, look at Bob Fischel. Yeah. He goes, take it, put it in your pocket. And that's how Bob's and mine's friendship, had started in late 1979. So one of my prized possessions, of course.
Do you mind me asking? I mean, do you know who's all on that ball? You don't have to list everyone, but give us a taste on who's on that ball. Well,
guys like Earl Averill, and Happy Chandler was in the dugout at that time. Obviously, DiMaggio and Ted Williams and Jimmy Fox, and off the top of my head, I'm
sure.
drawing a blank, but all the as you can imagine, all the names. Yeah.
Bobby
All the
DiBiasio.
biggies. Brooks Robinson. I mean, all those, Yeah.
VP with the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio. Hey, Bob. Bobby, let me ask you this. The year now 2021. And from a fan's perspective, is the All-Star Game still what it was before interleague play? Your perspective.
I don't think so, but I don't think it has to be. I still think it's fun as the players really get into it. For you and I growing up, it was a rare opportunity unless you took a long road trip to go see a Willie Mays or a Hank Aaron. 1954, I'm sorry, 1963, Willie Mays was the star of the All-Star Game in Cleveland. Might have been his only appearance ever at Cleveland Stadium in his entire career. And so that sort of thing, it made it so fun because not every game was on television. The All-Star Game was, and it was our chance to see the stars of the game. So it was really must-watch TV for our generation. Now, this group, the Home Run Derby is as much fun as the game itself. I can tell you, oddly, when they instituted that rule for a few years about home field advantage in the World Series, whoever won the All-Star Game, the very first time that happened was in Chicago again at the new Comiskey Park. And I can't remember exactly what year it was, but nobody left the game because there was something riding on it. And normally in All-Star games, when you get to the seventh inning, people start filtering out. And but all of a sudden that was instituted and people stayed in their seats and were interested in the outcome, of course. Not sure I like that rule or not. We don't have that anymore, but I do think it's going to be really interesting. The star of the show is going to be Shohei Ohtani, that's for sure.
VP with the Cleveland Indians, Bobby DiBiasio. He joins us each week with Hey Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. My friend, thank you for the time again. We'll catch up with you next week with another edition of Hey Bobby.
Sounds great. We didn't mention Shane Bieber.
Well, if you want to, go ahead. I mean,
well, no, just the fact that we had another MVP. Obviously in the 1990 or the 2019 game to follow up. And I actually was sitting in a suite with Sandy Alomar, and he was the first one, came over and hugged me. He goes, "Look, there's Biebs by the car. We got another MVP from the Tribe," which was just such a cool thing that Sandy was as happy for Shane as he was for himself when he hit that 2-run homer to have the American League win 3-1 in 1997. But I know you got to run, and thanks. I could talk All-Star.
I know.
Fun forever, but thanks for having me as always, Ray. Go Tribe.